Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 37 of the build guide 2. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And welcome back to the Brooklyn's and Queens inspired area. I know last episode I promised we were going to do some work on Karen, but Karen is going to have to wait because I'm inspired for some baseball today. We're going to head back to the Brooklyn's and Queens area, which has now been named Brooklyn and Keys by Skippy McGroin. Thank you for the suggestion, bud. And then Brendo the Offendo, which is an interesting name, actually let us know that it would make much more sense for the rail to carry straight on rather than going off to the left. So we've switched it around and now prepared the arterial road, of course, to go straight on. That was a really obvious choice. I was definitely blinded by the design in that. So this now goes straight on, of course, and comes off towards the left. And we've also just rearranged our road hierarchy for today's build, which is going to be a baseball training facility for the Orchid Bagels, something that we can tether onto the side of the stadium and really complete this section of the downtown today. So it should be quite a lot of fun. Let's build Orchid Bay, a baseball training campus, shall we? So in preparation for today's episode, I have painted out a campus area that is actually from Prepare to Farm. So you see as we hover over it, we've now got 3 different satellite campuses across Orchid Bay. And as a little side note here, I've actually enjoyed using campus like this much better rather than having 3 separate distinctly styled campuses. Having one main campus and then having satellite campuses around it is much nicer for vanilla, I think, because you never really get the demand for 3 full-scale campuses without something like realistic population on. But anyway, I digress. Let's turn our attention towards this, shall we? So let's delete this here. This, of course, will be featured, but we don't need it for right now. And let's turn our attention towards the entrance and we'll start developing this complex. So I definitely want some car parking here, and I think that the new Railroad of Japan car parks are indeed going to be the firm choice. So we'll go for 3, 4 and 5. Yes, they do get this. This has to be fixed by Move It, by the way. This little concrete sort of terrain texture that comes over them. It's quite irritating, but we'll try to work around it. And then let's go for a nicer road. Let's try 2-lane with median and trees. And looks like we can hook that in nicely there. And we'll go for the tree of the moment, which at the minute is definitely the silver birch, isn't it? We've got that all over this area. So we'll keep it in there as well. And that's going to give us some nice car parking. God, I love those trains going past the residential. So good. I'm never not going to be distracted by that. But yes, this is quite nice, isn't it? So we've got some silver birches here. That's a little bit of a sort of upmarket entrance into the area. And because we're playing with the campus area, I can use the campus assets as sort of the main buildings for the training facility. So why don't we go ahead and grab the trade school labs. We'll have this here, I think. It's going to be pretty nice for me, isn't it? And then I definitely want a lot of pedestrian roads running through this campus area. So let's factor that in as well. We'll go for bluestone, I think. We'll get a nice tree line medium one on. And then we'll just feed this straight through there for right now. And then let's go ahead and get that baseball community complex thing in again. Whatever it's called, what is it? Community baseball complex. I wasn't far away. It's nearly there. So I want to place this here because it does have parking on the front. So let's go for there. And then that'll give that car park there a little bit more purpose, which will be quite nice, I think. So we'll look forward to that. And then we can definitely bring some things in and around here as well. I'd also like another pedestrian road to run basically down this side as well. So let's just amend this road hierarchy ever so slightly. We'll bring it down to about there, hopefully. And then we will be able to snap onto this here. Let's just come to angle and road length. There we go. And then I want my pedestrian road to hug this angle here. That's going to be perfect. We'll have that go down there, and then we'll remove this bus road for right now. It will eventually come through here because this will be the termination of the waterfront bus line down here before it makes its journey back. So we will factor that in, but this is the priority for right now. Cool. So let's go ahead and upgrade these trees into silver birch as well. So definitely want more campus assets in around here. Let's have a look at our auditorium. Will you fit there? No, a little bit too big. Let's go for here then. So we'll have it there, I think. Auditorium, really nice, big, important asset. And it gives a sense of training facility, doesn't it, when we're using these larger assets in amongst these sports fields. Makes them look a lot more purposeful, I think. So let's have a little look what's going on over here where we've got these pathways that stick out now. So let's bring them down toward the road. Okay, can we squeeze one in here? Yeah, there's just about enough room, but we're going to have to do some finagling with the node, and then you run straight through there. So what I want to do here is a little bit of memorial fun, essentially. So let's come into our trees, and I want to grab a single silver birch. We will then dive into the find it and find a bench. Let's go for university bench while we're using the campus area. So we'll have that there. And then we'll come into city park stuff. I want to go ahead and get a light for this. And then also one of these signs. So it's like a famous player that has since passed away, maybe. I don't know. John McBaseball or something. We used to play for the Orchid Bagels. And now has a little memorial bench and a little memorial park in and around the sort of training facility. Is my thought process behind that. But a nice little bit of prop detailing for the build anyway. And then I think with the airport aprons that we now have, we can hopefully fill in a good chunk of concrete space there. And let's dive into the wonderful world of plazas and promenades props. And I think a simple pattern of a little repeated fountain number, something like that. I'll stick 2 of these back to back. And then let's do some of these plazas benches. And we'll just have some little bench props around the fountain, so fans of the Orchid Bagels can come and chill out here. And I think a bin would also be more than welcome as well, wouldn't it? Let's have a couple of bins on the entrance into the main campus there. Fabulous. So nice little concrete plaza out front to help settle the building. I don't think I'm going to be hating that particularly. Cool. Starting to settle in now, isn't it? So turn attention to this little space here. So for those that don't know, there was a big update to the shopping malls content creator pack and the Africa in miniature one, and they now have a bunch of unique buildings, and we do have a little bit of high school demand. And if we check our content creator tab, there's actually an Africa in miniature high school now, which is a super nice looking building. Let's check this out together. Look at this. That's so cool. I really like that. Super nice looking asset, dead modern, and really fits into the training facility vibe, doesn't it? Sits very nicely up and against these campus assets. And of course, it's all satisfying education demand as well, which is always helpful, isn't it? So what's going on here? Let's have a little look. So because these have got benches out the back of them, I think it's going to be sensible to partner this with the trade school cafeteria, and we can sort of have a little look at some placements and orientations if you like. So we'll place these up together, and then let's go ahead and also bring a pedestrian road through this way. There we go, there's the smallest of sweet spots. There it is. Cool. So we'll have that there, and then let's bring up some pathways. Of course, we're playing with campus assets, so we want to be placing things on pathways as well. So bring that down. That gives us an opportunity to frame something in the middle here. We'll decide exactly what that is, and then we want to replace that there. So that should give a bit more purpose toward the benches here, as if it's some sort of open cafeteria space for the future baseball stars of Orchid Bay. I don't think I particularly hate that aesthetic. Fabulous. And then behind, is that 4 deep? It looks like it is. That's going to be some optimal car parking placements, isn't it? We'll have those in there. And then a little tree line perhaps just next door. Awesome, that's going to round out that corner of the campus quite nicely, isn't it? I think I'm on board with that. Cool, so it's coming together. We'll of course get some bushes and tree linings in and whatnot to bring this area up, but for right now, it isn't too bad at all. So I just want to briefly turn my attention toward this side of the road over here. So what I eventually want to do with this area is turn it into a hotel resort for the stadium, either for the team or fans, just so there's some big hotels. But we need to unlock the hotels first. I want to spend an episode doing that rather than tied onto the baseball facility. So expect this area here to become a hotel for the stadium at some point in the future. But because we're playing with the campus area, this does give us the opportunity to use one of the campus uniques that we haven't used yet, which I really want to do. So let's come into campus again, and we want to get the School of Tourism and Travel. And it fits. If it fits, it sits is the rule. So we'll have it in there, why not? And that's going to be absolutely tremendous, isn't it? Super big, important asset. And I've mentioned this before, these campus uniques are some of the best buildings in the game, especially for downtowns, because they're so chunky, which is quite important in vanilla. And if you haven't seen that ILOS series, actually we pieced 5 of these together to make a super hospital. It was a really cool build, so go check that out if you haven't already. Cool, so that's wonderful. So we definitely need to factor in the buses here. The buses need to be not a priority, but at least considered some of the way. So if we went for that right there, that should be okay. Now I'd like to have something of a termination point here for the buses, and I think an intercity bus station is going to be most appropriate. And we can get some really nice road against road action there, can't we, with that? That's going to be very appreciated in vanilla. Now let's go ahead and get a bus station. I think, should we use the Plazas one? Plazas one could be quite nice here. Or we could go for intercity bus station, actually. Was the intercity bus terminal? I don't know. There's a few good ones here. I think we'll go for the intercity bus station, I think. That's going to seem like a sensible shout. And then we'll use these bus roads to create something of a bus system now. So they shouldn't need to turn around. Let's bring our road off of this one here down to this guideline and then come across. And then we can delete this and we'll fill this with maybe some more university buildings perhaps. Might be a good shout in here. What would work well? The library is quite a chunky asset, isn't it? I guess we could have the library there, and then that gives us a bit more room for some commercial in this space. We'll see how that grows. If anything, I just want to amend the zoning on that bus road to have none, which will reprioritize the zoning squares on this road here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the Jigglypuff bus line now, because this has to come down here. It can now complete its entire loop, which is quite a moment for the city, isn't it? Why are you going down there, though? I don't want you to do that. So let's come through this way, and then you'll come into the intercity bus stop there, and then also mirror your stop over here too. So yeah, I don't want you to come down this way, please. Please come back through. Oh, I haven't reinstated that connection, have I? You idiot egg. That's probably why. You fool. There we go. That's what we want. So yeah, I want you to come back through the Brickland and Keys area. Awesome, that's going to work now. So yeah, that does complete the line. It now runs all the way from Creasy Gardens, which was built ages ago, and maintains that bus hierarchy system that we wanted to set up, which has turned out really nicely. I'm very happy with how this has developed. And hopefully we'll see the Jigglypuff bus soon enough. There we go, there's one of them. Let's check the line. Make sure everyone's at least somewhat happy. Yeah, there's no full buses. Stops are fairly busy. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. But hopefully we'll see some people get off here at the new playgrounds. One. Just the one guy wants to get off in Brickland, which is okay. So yes, he'll go down there, which is great. And then we'll do quite a bit of green space detailing in this area, I imagine. Come our time-lapse. And we don't want any residential here. And we'll probably make this high-density commercial, I imagine. And hopefully start accepting some intercity buses over here as well soon. And we will see how that turns out, I think. But it's already started sort of pretty important and cool, isn't it? We've got these people that live in these sort of terrace houses here, getting a great view across the training facility. Very nice. Don't forget to get names as well for the training facility for the Orchid bagels as well. Maybe the bakery might be might be a good name, because it's obviously they're baking the bagels. Might be quite good, but you guys decide. My name's usually not that good. I'll let you guys choose that one. Okay, so let's go for some more silver birch through here as well. We'll definitely have the tree of the moment in. And we've got it down here as well. So let's scan through some more campus assets, and I think we can get away with the little IT club number here as well, which would be quite nice. So there's a little small outbuilding there. I'm going to give them a view across the training facility as well from this little terrace that they have on the building. Should be quite nice. Just notice as well that this baseball stadium here has the suburban fence on it, doesn't it? So I'm wondering if we can actually use that as an excuse to kind of wrap a bit of a security fence around the facility, so the insane fans of the bagels can't just waltz in. There's at least some sort of security for them there. But oh, look at that. I love the way that the complex is developing in the shadow of the stadium. That's so cool. Yes, please, for orientation, everyone. And now that that School of Tourism and Travel is in as well, that's a great crawl up to that skyline as well, isn't it? So even this late, we're still looking at sorting out layers of height and contributing to that mass crawl. It's all very important in vanilla. A little bit of terrain work required there as well to tidy those keys up. And fabulous. But otherwise, guys, this kind of feels like a good point for a detail in time lapse. Not a massively long build today. Just got our key assets placed, and now it's going to be a case of filling in spaces like this and sorting all this out with some maybe another pedestrian pathway coming out of this section here would probably make sense, wouldn't it? Let's have that one there. Come down onto that one. Yeah, I think we'll do that. But yes, the detail of this waterfront, I'm going to get a few benches in. I think maybe some of those new parks. So they all sort of come in and look nice, and maybe some benches looking out to the eventual airport as well. Bit of a plain spot as wet dream, perhaps. Yeah, tidy up all these spaces. I might re-amend some road network shapes and get lots of green belt through these areas. And generally round off this final corner of the downtown, but don't forget we will be coming back to develop a little mini hotel complex eventually for the stadium. But we'll do some hotel stuff first, separate from that. But otherwise, let's detail up the Orchid Bay baseball training facility, and then we'll be right back. let's have a detailing review, shall we? So big shout out to the crawling heights that are now developing up to that main downtown space, but we'll start with this area here. So in this green space, we dropped in some of the new tourism parks and changed them to outdoor playgrounds and outdoor gyms, which I thought would be appropriate for the waterfront. Covered those benches that we mentioned earlier as well, and then also one of the sidewalk cafes in with a nice bit of low density commercial to complement it. I really like that waterfront. That little bend in the quay as well is very tasteful. really like that. Lots more high density commercial around our bus station with some trees and whatnot. It came out really nicely. Did end up slightly amending the road networks here, and we were a little bit too close to the quay, so brought in some different angles on that bus road, and then it loops around now back up. And there's also a new line that goes around the Brickwins and Queens area that meets up, of course, with all the other bus action that's going on here, so that's quite nice. Over this side, not too much has changed apart from the introduction of a university fountain, which had a perfect sits and fits moment right at the start of the detailing time-lapse. So happy to have a fountain outside of our cafeteria spaces, and a new tower has also grown up there as well with the high density. Furthermore, down here, this is pretty much the same as what it was, not too much has changed over this side. Changed out some of the benches over this side, more bins and some hedge lining against the, what was his name? Bill McBaseball or something? Bob? John? I can't remember. Whoever it was. They have a nice little decorated garden up here now for their memorial bench. And then we have our auditoriums. Kind of forgot about the gymnasium, to be honest, but found it in the time-lapse. So we now have the gymnasium here as well, which of course is appropriate. And then we just shifted our IT club over onto the corner a little bit. This green space here is just kind of cute and generic outer lying green space. We've got people using the keys now, which is always super satisfying. And then just live oaks and some hedge patterns to fill the space up to this way. Before they meet back up with the bridges and all this stuff over here. And of course they can head back into Brickwins and Keys over there. But by far and away, I think the best contribution to the skyline here has been these additions on the waterfront. Really nice. We'll have a little brief nighttime view here because that baseball community complex really lights up with all those floodlights. It's a real nice sort of centerpiece and focal point for this side of the downtown, isn't it? Having that baseball field there next to the stadium. Really cool. I'm tremendously happy with how it's turned out, and what a view, right? What a wonderful view. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Today's build is a proper example of how combining campus assets with other themes really pays off, especially in your downtown setting. The campus assets are some of the nicest assets the vanilla game has, and you know, factoring in things like the School of Tourism and Travel into a downtown area is so far up my street, it's unreal. Really enjoyed this build today. Let me know what you think of it, and of course don't forget to get name suggestions down below for the training facility for the Orchid bagels. You guys can choose it. But otherwise, please enjoy your cinematics of the completed downtown. I will shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.